Hello everybody, got another encounter for you. I hope that you're going to enjoy this one. Also, I'd like to let you know that we're doing a fundraiser for Hunter Friday night. If you'd like to join, my mom for the first time is going to go on and talk about her home and the encounters they had. So instead of hearing it from me, what happened with my mom and them, you're actually going to hear it from her and what they went through. So a lot of people have asked to hear this, and I think you all are going to really love that night. And we thought it would be a good night to do the fundraiser, and then of course Saturday we'll be back at our original time, where our original show. The links are in the description also. Alright. It says, hello all. So I had a horrifying experience when I was 14 years old. I live in Youngstown, Ohio. I grew up on the north side of town in the city. If you look up pics of the old steel mills in town, you will get an understanding of what I'm talking about. So my buddy literally lived across the street from the mills. We would regularly go down there and just investigate the massive area. All but shut down and dilapidated. Well, we had certain old buildings that we frequented, and one we made into our home base. We spent weeks making walls and strengthening spots so no one could get in, especially the wild dogs that also frequented the area, and were especially vicious. They traveled in packs of 6 or more. The buildings that we went to all the time had no stairs, so we had to jump up to get in. Made it safer for us. I was right by an active railroad. The other working steel mill near used it to get supplies in and out. Fast forward to the summer, and we were there one night. We always had guns, as this was Youngstown, Ohio, in the late 80s. Murder Town, USA at that time. Plenty of Bloods and Crips. We had chosen an old factory building that was huge, and we would have massive fires right on the floor of the first floor. We erected a wall of these metal U-shaped things, thought now to be milling shields, to give us privacy and safety. If anyone saw us from the railroad, they would call the police, security, and we would be in trouble. Well, we were hanging out, and we heard a pack of dogs coming, and we thought it sounded like they were chasing something. We went out to see, and they ran near us over a huge mound of coke steel mills that used the steel-making process. They ran over, and we hear a fight ensuing. Vicious attack going on, all dogs involved. After 6 to 7 seconds, we hear a louder dog above all the others, and the beginning screams of the wild dogs started. Then, to our shock, at different times, wild dogs were literally being thrown over the mound in different directions. Finally, all the wild dogs run away in the direction they came from, but as fast as they could possibly run. Some limping, some with obvious injuries. We were shocked. Then one of my friends screams, "What is that? Look!" At that moment, I kid you not, a giant wolf-like animal the size of which seemed quite honestly fake crawls on all fours to the top of the mound and is looking directly into the area of the wild dogs, the same way they ran. It lifts its leg and subsequently and substantially releases a urine flow that honestly seemed like it was released out of the garden hose. That thing there, right there, may sound amusing. It scared the hell out of us because we have no idea of just how large this thing was. My one buddy stumbled backwards into our makeshift wall, and then it turns its attention to us. I cannot relay to you the amount of fear we all immediately felt. I feel it even now, writing this to you. The hairs on my arm are standing up. It had yellowish amber colored eyes. They glowed like they had a power source behind them. Looking back on it, we agreed it was from the light of the huge bonfire that we had made in our home base. It growled next, and it was so deep we all felt it. I said out loud that I just felt that in my chest. My 2 buddies said they were all of a sudden lightheaded and getting sick. I did not feel that at that moment. but we all were horrified. It then did something so shocking, so alien to the status quo, that we immediately felt in danger and ran inside the building and up 2 sets of broken, missing, and falling apart concrete stairs up to the 3rd level. We are all very lucky that no one fell to at least a broken bone type fall, maybe worse. This thing stood up on 2 legs. Its back legs. They looked like huge set of dog legs, but the large leg muscles were reminiscent of a bodybuilder, but thicker, and just the look of its massive body was unbelievably impressive and intimidating. My one friend was crying, he was so terrified. When we got to the 3rd floor, we had to smack and shake him and shut him up, as well as cover his mouth until he almost passed out from lack of air. We hoped it would leave and not hear him crying. It did not. After what seemed like an hour, but only 1 or 2 minutes, we hear the climb up on the outside start to enter the building. We first saw the shadow of it, which was 10 times as large as the beast. We all froze. No one dared make a sound. We should have dropped down out of sight, but were so terrified we just stood there, staring. It came into the light, and we saw everything on the animal. It was at the very least the size of a grizzly bear. Again, the size was so large. It was hard to believe that we were not dreaming, that this was real. It was, and it was happening 20 feet in front of us. It was growling, sniffing the air, and it just automatically looked straight up at us. I knew it knew where we were. The whole time, its eyes glowing. The thing that stood out to us was it started drooling, but not a little. It was pouring out of its mouth. Was it pouring from the idea it was about to eat us? To kill us? It could have easily. It looked away from us and saw the stairs. We froze again and got a newfound feeling of horror. It was headed to the stairs to come up where we were. We started freaking out and looking around. It had only 2 escapes, an outside fire escape going up to the roof or to the 4th floor, then the roof again. The part to go down had rusted and fell off however long ago. It hopped easily over the 3 steps missing and was instantly up on the 2nd floor. It was walking to the next set of stairs, and at that moment we heard the most beautiful sound ever. A train coming right by the building. Slowly, too. They had to see the fire because when they were passing the building they let loose a treason horn, and it freaked out the wolf creature. It looked toward the opening of the building and in 2 seconds was out of the building and gone. We all started screaming help, which one heard, but we also just were screaming from the stress, and because we felt we were going to maybe be okay. When the train could no longer be heard, the fear set back, and we thought every single sound was the thing coming back in. I did not. Thank God. It started to make our way back down the 2nd floor. Waited 45 minutes, and then to the 1st floor, and then we waited probably an hour before we ventured back outside. We thought for sure every second we were making our way back to my friend's house that it was coming after us. We heard the wild dogs from the distance and started running. We ran until we got to my buddy's house. Those of us that are still alive talk about that night every time we see or talk on the phone. We will remember that until the day we die. I still am in awe that these things exist. Every time I see or hear a story about someone experienced one of these, I freeze. I am instantly brought back to that night, and I feel true fear again. There had been more events that have taken place in my life. Some before this occurred, but not that serious. Also, lifelike dreamscape, even in the summer of 2023, where I was attacked by the same Dogman. It spoke to me and warned me it would see me again. There have been more events and more events in my life. Some before this occurred, but not that serious. And after it told me that it would see me again, it did after all those years. I also had an incredible event at Beaver Creek State Park in Ohio where I had an experience where I got an EVP of a Bigfoot. You can check all those out on my channel that I will probably close now because of the phone calls I'm getting threatening me to quit telling my stories. These things are everywhere, and after I had my first encounter, they just got worse and worse. They never leave you alone once you see them. Well, guys, it kind of goes with what we talked about. Once you have an encounter with them, it seems you can't never get rid of them. I hope you all enjoyed this, and until next time, keep your head on a swivel, and don't be something's dinner.